This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Omega Bright CBD, formulated by Omega Bright Wellness, creators of the #1 omega-3 supplements for the past 20 years. Omega Bright CBD, safe, third-party tested, and it works. Shop online at omegabrightwellness.com. Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell with a mini episode of Distraction. During the pandemic, each week we do a mini episode that touches in some way upon this phenomenon that we've all been living within. And today's is going to be a lighthearted one. I want to talk about things that I have been doing myself to divert me from the perils of the day, to take my mind off of the pandemic, politics, and other upsetting topics. And I just thought I'd go down a list of what I've done, either alone or with family members. Not an exhaustive list, of course, but just a few things that came trippingly to my tongue or instantly to my mind. One thing, I have been binge-watching Schitt's Creek. Now, if you've never seen Schitt's Creek, it is funny. I really recommend it to you. My wife started watching it, and she described it to me, and I said, I don't think that sounds good. It is terrific. It is uproariously funny. It is so funny. If you don't find this show funny, something's happened to your funny bone. I mean, just thinking about it. With Eugene Levy with the big eyebrows, it's just hysterically funny. I also made a purchase while waiting in line, because we have to wait in line to get into certain stores, and the line outside of Whole Foods happens to have a bunch of hanging flowers for sale. So I bought 2 of these hanging flower pots, one predominant color pink, the other predominant color violet, and I hung them from hooks on our front porch. Now, when you buy hanging flower pots, you have to water the flowers. And so that's what I've been doing each day. And in order to water the flowers, I'm not quite tall enough to reach the watering can up. So I bought a little step stool. So I have my step stool on the porch along with my watering can. And I get up there every day or every other day and water these flowers. And I'm telling you, it's really rewarding to see them flourish and grow. And they're bushier and hanging downer more and just lovely to behold. Also, someone left us a pot of pansies as sort of a gift during this time. And I've been watering that as well. And they are just flourishing. My gosh. There were, a few stray strands of pansy in the original. Now it's just like a pansy bush. So we've got the blue pansies, the violet flowers, the pink flowers, and the porch. It just lifts my spirits. I also wrote a letter to David Brooks, the columnist in the New York Times. He wrote a column on Friday, the 26th, about 5 problems that we're dealing with, that I just thought it was a wonderful column. And I've also been cooking. I go online and I look for recipes, and there's a gazillion recipes online. They'll have like 32 ways of turning ground meat into a meal, or 17 side dishes for the 4th of July. And I love these, and I go down them, I print them out, and next thing you know, I'm cooking them up. Like tomorrow, I'm going to make a vegetable chicken stew in the crock pot. Tuesdays is my day to make dinner, so I'll put it in the morning, and by the time evening rolls around, we'll have this yummy, delicious stew. And online recipe shopping is another activity that I highly recommend. Play with a dog. We're lucky because my daughter is here, and with her comes her little Chiweenie named Layla. As you know, I think dogs are God's greatest creation. Been playing with Layla every chance I get. And then when my son brings over his dog, Max, we get to play with both dogs. And out in the backyard, the 2 of them rushing around. And then one final thing I got for my daughter, because she really wanted this, a inflatable pool, above ground obviously, that it's big enough for her to put an inflatable raft in it so she can lie in the sun in the water, on the water, and to see the smile on her face when this thing arrived. It didn't cost a huge amount. It was $300. I know that's not nothing, but it was affordable. And it was joy, 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 joy. This is all along the lines of specializing. That's my term for making the ordinary extraordinary, turning, what's a dismal situation into one that's playful, fun, rewarding, interesting, engaging. So that's my little list. Binge watch Schitt's Creek, water the hanging flowers, write a letter to David Brooks, cook up new stuff, play with a dog, and get something special for your daughter. In my case, it was this inflatable pool. Let's try to do these things for one another. Let's try to stay connected, even though we have to keep our distance. Let's try to bring each other messages and vibes of goodwill, of joy, of understanding, of harmony. Let's try to get along. Okay, before I say goodbye, I'd like to remind you to check out Omega Bright CBD. I've been taking this CBD supplement myself for nearly 3 months, and I have noticed it's definitely helping with my feelings of irritability and random anxiety. You can get Omega Bright CBD online at omegabrightwellness.com. That's OMEGABRITE wellness.com. Bright intentionally misspelled. They have a deal for Distraction listeners right now as well. You'll save 20% off your first order when you use the promo code PODCAST2020. That's PODCAST2020. Omega Bright CBD, safe, third-party tested, and it works. And please continue to connect with us. Share your thoughts, questions, and show ideas by emailing us at connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's connect@distractionpodcast.com. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our producer is the multi-talented and several voice levels Sarah Guertin. And our recording engineer and editor is the impish and brilliant Pat Keogh. And I am Dr. Ned Hallowell. Thank you so very much for joining our community and listening to our podcast. The episode of Distraction you just heard was sponsored by Omega Bright CBD, formulated by Omega Bright Wellness, creators of the #1 omega-3 supplements for the past 20 years. Omega Bright CBD, safe, third-party tested, and it works. Shop online at omegabrightwellness.com.